Sit down.
And be humble.
Welcome to Humble Podcast. My name is Brittany.
And this is Manny.
So, Essay, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind a little bit lately, which is dating. So let's get into this.
Why did dating come to your mind? Why was this your topic?
Why was this my topic? Okay, well, mainly because I've had people come to me recently telling me that they've started dating and asking me for advice. Which is interesting because, you know, I've never been in a really long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. So
he's like,
and I just started dating myself.
Yeah, like, which is interesting, you know? You just got into the game and people are asking you for the tricks and tips of the game.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's basically why it's been on my mind. And I want to get like the male's perspective on some of the questions that have been asked to me and see what that's like for you, for the guy side of it, you know.
Okay, but
I mean, I could ask my guy, but
yeah. But you know, I think we have to keep in mind that my perspective might be a little skewed, just for the sheer fact that I haven't had to do like online dating. You know, that's not something.
You're right. You haven't done any type of online dating or dating apps, but you can still give an opinion on it. And I'm sure you have male friends who have come to you about online dating and what it's like as a guy with online dating. So, I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk a little bit about what it's like dating during COVID. So yeah, let's just get into it.
Okay. So
I guess. Oh, okay. You start.
I'm just curious because I've never really had to do it. What is online dating like?
So I've heard you say this term before. It's a numbers game. And I've heard you say this term before when it comes to like you telling me about, you know, your friends coming to you about online dating problems. And so as a woman, as a female, my online dating has never been an issue when it comes to matches. The issue that comes from online dating for the woman's side is a lot of the guys who initially started off kind of aggressive in like a sexual manner. And honestly, if you're out there dating, you're not just going to go around hooking up with every John, Dick, and Harry, as they say. You know.
I've never heard before, but continue.
You've never heard that reference before?
John, Dick, and Harry? No, I have not.
Damn. Well, look, I've just brought you to it, so you're welcome.
So what I'm understanding is for women, it's more of a quality problem than a quantity problem.
Exactly. That is literally the problem. And I've gone on my fair share of dates with people that I've met through apps, and a lot of them are just like one and done type of things. I just, you know, you're only really talking to a person through a screen. And we had talked a little bit about this on our social media episode, how talking to I have to start over. I'm sorry, I got an email. I'm going to take my breath.
It's all good. This is good. It'll help you plan.
Okay, we talked a little bit about this on our social media episode. How talking to somebody on a screen, you don't really get to see them as a person. And, you know, when you're texting someone, a lot of it's just like mundane small talk. You know, how was your day? Oh, my day was good. And until someone really starts to try to like break out of that small talk, will you actually try and start to get to know the person. But sometimes that's hard over a social media platform or a dating app platform. And so when I would go and meet these people in real life, and you get to see their mannerisms and you get to really hear their tone behind some of the things that they say. And some of the things that you thought were a joke weren't actually a joke. And you're like, oh, that's a red flag, So it's kind of hard to really see the person again behind the screen. And so that's why I had a lot of the one and done type of dates. And there were a few that I had gone out with, a little bit more after the initial date, but then things just kind of fizzle out, which has been my main experience with online dating. And the person that I'm seeing now is not through online dating. So it's been pretty cool.
I mean, it's just interesting to sit back and hear that, because I always felt that was a problem. When you are communicating to someone with a screen, you can't see their mannerisms and you can't see just their general tone of voice and the way they see themselves as a person. And so I always wondered how you kind of have to overcome that. And then my other problem is for people who are more shy people, I guess. I think that the internet could be a good thing. Like social media, I sound old whenever I say the internet, but social media platforms.
No, you don't sound old.
It could be a good thing, but my experience is if you didn't have game in real life, you probably will have even less game on a dating platform. In terms of just being able to talk to people.
Yeah, maybe. But some people really come out of their shells when they're not face to face with people.
I think that's even worse, because if you're coming out your shell when you're not face to face, and then you do get face to face, because at some point we are people, we have to come face to face. That's true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But I don't know. Honestly, this is why the whole online dating thing is.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard, and it's never really been something that I've really taken that seriously either. And that could also be why some of the, people that I did start to go out with a little bit more often kind of fizzled out, because for whatever reason, I just didn't take it as seriously as might. I'm not going to say as one should, but as one might. And so, and also to the fact that, if there's no initial connection, or if you're just not really feeling it, there's the saying you love to say, you shouldn't force it. Because if you have to force it, it's probably shit.
Yeah. Life is like a fart. If you gotta force it, it's probably shit. That's a great one. I think this is all good things. I think it can be a good thing. I think that you have an ability to meet people that you may have missed the connection with in real life, but I do think it also, to some extent, stunts people from putting themselves outside of their comfort zone. And I understand people don't want to be bothered, but in reality, life happens when people are bothered. When you put yourself in a position where you just say hi to someone, and you don't have to go up to someone and talk to them with the intentions of dating them. You can just go and say hi to a person and be like, hey, if you're in a grocery store, someone's picking up your favorite drink, I drink that too. That's a great drink. And if you start talking to that person and you're talking about that drink and you click, then you can say something that's we should do something together. Or it can just be a conversation, you walk away and never see that person again, which is fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's to put yourself outside your comfort zone. And I think these apps have allowed people to be too comfortable, And then I think it's also become a problem because when I talk to male friends about it, they tend to start to stereotype women a lot more because of these apps. Because the other problem is too, since women just have so many matches, these guys are doing more and more not cringy, but just out the ass stuff to try to capture someone's attention. You know what I mean? And I think that plays into the fact that these guys start to stereotype these women and think, oh, they're only interested in me for XYZ. And I also do believe
Mm,
that you swiping left or right on a person without getting to know that person as a person starts to mess with your
mm-hmm,
brain, and you start to not see people as people anymore.
mm-hmm,
You start to see people as just a means to an end. It's weird, but it does it. There's a
mm-hmm,
disconnect, you know what I'm saying, from the face of the person.
mm-hmm,
Because I think about that too. Like, if you had to actually just say like or dislike to someone's face in real life, you probably would just not do it. You'd probably just sit down and be like, oh, you know,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
messed up. But I think it is a good tool that you can use to be able to meet people you may never met. But I
Mm-hmm,
still feel like it stands to be argued that you should do other things. Like, for instance, before COVID hit, you should join a group. If you like sports, join a sports group, and you get to know people that way, and then you might meet someone there. If you like,
mm-hmm,
if you like books, join a book
mm-hmm,
club. You might meet someone like that. If you like hiking, join a hiking club. Do things that do find groups, and I'm talking about like adults too, because there are adult
mm-hmm,
groups, so you can easily go to these groups and find other people who have the same interests as you and maybe
mm-hmm,
find a connection there too. I think people have become too reliant on things like dating platforms to find their other person, and they have
mm-hmm,
expectations of what the other person should be that have
mm-hmm.
made the situation so much worse than it needs to be. Do you understand? Like, most people's expectations of what a partner should be is so unrealistic. It doesn't even make sense.
Give me an example.
Kind of like, I know as far as some of these guys go, like they want, like, some guys just want girls to do like all the housework for them. You know
Okay,
what I mean?
that's what
And
you
cook
mean
and
by
clean,
unrealistic
and then still
expectations.
be down, and then still like have a job, or like just like, or for someone to at least have a certain amount of, like, look a certain way in terms of just being like, they gotta be like at least 8. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm,
you start to set these unrealistic expectations instead of looking for the thing that matters the most, which is a connection. Because ideally,
mm-hmm,
I would like to say this is the truth of the fact, right? And we're going to talk about this more when we hit the relationship podcast. But
mm-hmm,
the truth is, you're really looking for someone you like 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know
mm-hmm.
anybody, including you, I like all the time. It's just not possible. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, no, I completely understand. There's no way you're gonna always like someone. Not family, not a friend, not the person you're dating. There's always gonna be a time that that person either gets on your nerves or, you know, you're just aggravated by something that they're doing, anything.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, ideally, you want someone who you just like to be around 9 times out of 10. Cause
Mm-hmm.
that's really the best you can ask for. Because when you rely on things like I don't know, I think when you rely on things like the sensation that you feel in the moment, that goes away. But to be able to be with someone that you're just happy with 9 out of 10 times, that's great. And no one's perfect. I remember
Mm-hmm.
one of the good things about me having so many people around me who are older than me that I talk to is
Mm-hmm.
one of my friends told me, he said, no one's ever going to be perfect for you, but you're just finding someone who, because he said we're all broken people and we're just trying to find someone who fits in the pieces. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like a puzzle, those pieces aren't always going to fit perfectly, but they fit well
Mm-hmm.
enough. And so when you look at these people and you're saying, oh, they don't have this or they don't have that, or this isn't good enough or that's not good enough. No one's
Mm-hmm.
ever going to be all of your standards because you're not ever going to meet anybody else's all of their standards.
Mm-hmm.
It's life. People say don't compromise, but life is a compromise. And that's not to say don't be with someone who doesn't make you happy. Um, be with someone who makes you happy 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. Going back a little bit about what you had said about your your male friends, and their online dating experience. I've had like some people come to me and ask me questions like, "Oh, what should be like a good opener, or like what would boost someone's profile when it comes to like a bio or photos. And like my question is, I guess, like, do the friends that you were talking to, the male friends, do they take the online dating very seriously, and like do they take it to the point where they're a little stressed over how many matches they get, or if a girl stops talking to them? Like, is that something that causes in your experience, your friends' anxiety?
So let me put it like this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be a female
Mm-hmm.
on a dating app is to have
Mm-hmm.
your ego boosted and to be annoyed with the people contacting you, right? To be a male is to have your ego crushed. Because as good as no matter how good looking you are, you're probably never going to get as many matches as a woman might, just because that is the
Mm-hmm.
nature of these apps. They're flooded by guys and there's not too many women on there. And
Mm-hmm.
so, to answer your question, yeah, they are concerned about their matches, because I imagine like the first day you were on any one of these dating apps, you probably had at least like 5 or 6 matches, right?
You can like bump that up to like maybe 25 to 30.
Okay, right? My male friend probably went 5 days to get one match.
Okay, see, that's something that I don't know. Cause like in your first day, and that's the thing with whenever somebody creates a new profile, that's why you
Mm-hmm.
get so many matches the first time
Mm-hmm.
when you start swiping through,
Mm-hmm.
is because you're then placed, and like if there was like a line, if you're creating a new profile, you're bumped up to like the front of the line,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you're new, you haven't been filtered through, and you're now going to show up on so many other people's Bumbles or Hinge or whatever you use. And that's why within the first day or two, I mean, from my personal experience and from other women that I've spoken to's personal experience, they get flooded with matches. If I were to go to a new place, that's also the case. But if I'm like swiping through on like a regular day, and I've been on the app for 2-3 weeks, I'll probably only get like 4 to 5 matches a day. And that just really depends on how long I've been on the app, how long it's been. But I didn't know that, you know, guys can be swiping through for 5 days and only get one.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's their reality. And even when you were saying 5 matches a day, if you've been on those apps a while, and you're a male, you're probably only going to get maybe 1 match a day, maybe 1 or 2 if you're lucky.
Mm.
Like I
Because I
said,
would imagine the same thing happening for guys who create new profiles, to have
no,
not as many, obviously, but, you know,
no.
in their initial day or two, like 10 to 15.
Absolutely not. I've been talking to my friends who are in the trenches. That is not how any of this works. And that what I was saying about having game before, that comes back to
Mm,
bite you, because some of them don't have game, and I have to sit there like look at their profiles for them. And me, who's never dated, been like not dated, but never been on like social media, like dating
mm-hmm,
websites. I have to sit
mm-hmm,
there and be like, what are you doing? Because I at least hear things in the zeitgeist, you know what I'm saying? To let me
mm-hmm,
know what grabs people's attention and what doesn't, and what pictures
mm-hmm,
would be good and what pictures are bad. And so I'm sitting here like,
mm-hmm,
what are y'all doing? This is why y'all don't get no matches. Y'all ain't got no game. It's like, just certain pictures just look bad. Certain pictures just, you can
mm-hmm,
just, because this is an app. Like I said, this is,
mm-hmm,
becomes a numbers game. So you're trying to put on your best face, and you do have to try and be pretentious. And that's why I don't like these apps, because you have to take this
mm-hmm,
pretentious and this very
mm-hmm,
fake look at yourself and kind of like sugarcoat yourself a lot, because if you
mm-hmm.
don't, people won't even give you a chance to learn about the real you. Because I've
Yeah.
even listened to podcasts where people have talked about, people who are pretty solid people have talked about themselves, and they say when they bump themselves up and make themselves seem like more, that people at least will talk to them, because that's the whole thing, because you're just trying to get someone to talk to you, and that becomes a
Mm-hmm.
problem when you're a male, because no one wants to talk to you, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I'm laughing to say that, but it's the truth.
Damn.
No one wants to talk to you, bro. I mean, it's a reality though, because like you said, you got like 25, you get five, if you're getting 5 matches a day and some random, Joe Schmo tries to talk to you, you're gonna be like, come on, Joe Schmo, I got this guy over here, you're not worth the time, so
Well, no, I would if somebody decides to talk to me with like actual conversation, I would always give that person a chance. Every
which is,
single person
which is
that
partly
would
because you're a nice person, Brittany, but most people aren't gonna do that. Like, think about your other female friends, and I know them too. Do you think they would do that?
I mean, I don't know. Cause, at the end of the day, when you know how like there are different versions of you? There's a work version of you. There's a family version of you. There's a dating version of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know their dating versions. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
don't know if they, hide a little bit of their pettiness until it's really necessary
Pity this
or
will
their
go away.
task.
Pity this will
But,
go away. They're
but
not
I don't.
messaging nobody. You better look like a young Samuel L. Jackson, or that's actually a bad example. Why can't I remember this guy's name?
Denzel Washington?
Denzel Washington. Thank you. You better look like a young Denzel Washington.
Or Michael
Or
B.
B. Jordan.
Jordan.
I was just about to say Michael B. Jordan. Or Chad Boswick.
You know why
Power the Soul.
you know why his nickname is Michael Bay Jordan, right?
Oh my God.
Shout out to him.
You know what I'm saying. Yo, shout out to Nico Chan. I need to do at least one shout out to Nico Chan every podcast where I'm not working hard enough. I'm just not working hard enough. You feel me?
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sorry.
I know. No, go ahead. What you about to say?
It's just I don't know if their dating version, because dating's all about trying to put your best foot forward,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to create a good first impression, just like how you would want to create a good first impression with a new employer or a new friend.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you'd expect the person that you're also seeing to also do the same thing, put their best foot forward. So I wouldn't really say that they would like not talk to them, but also why match with someone if you're not going to at least try to talk to them? Like, you obviously matched with them for a reason, and you might as well at least say hello.
And that's real, but a lot of people don't see that same way, especially when you're flooded with numbers. You know what I mean? Everything becomes less important.
I totally get that. I totally get the whole flooded with numbers thing. But so say on my first like 1 or 2 days and I have the 20 to 25 matches and I say hello to each person. It's usually just like a hey with a smiley face, their name, and like, how are you doing? Especially on Bumble, because on Bumble, I don't know if you know this, but women have to make the first message. Unless I see something in their profile that I have in common with them, then I'll ask them a question about it. Or, those are the two things, or if I saw something in the profile that I thought was interesting, then I asked them a question about it. But if I didn't see anything that was interesting and I just thought you looked nice and, whatever I read was, oh, okay, this seems like a nice person, then I'll just say, hey, smiley face, name, how are you? And if the guy chooses not to say anything in a certain time span, then that match disappears. So after my first couple of days, after I've said something, usually I don't get a response back until like for whatever reason, like 10 to 15 hours later. So most likely the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, depending on what they've said, is how I
But
would continue the conversation.
isn't that to show they're not desperate? You gotta get the 10 to 15 hours to show you're not desperate, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it's that or if you're like me and you just don't check the app that often, or you don't get notifications, because that was the thing with a lot of the dating apps. I wouldn't get the notifications when messages would come in sometimes. And so then depending on how like the first few lines of a conversation would go is how I would determine if I wanted to keep talking to this person. Like, oh, this person might be a little dry because all you can say to me every day is, hey, beautiful, how's your day going? Like, give me something else I can work with, bro. Like, you've said this to me like every single day for the last 3 days,
I also
you
know
know?
some people just be having dry conversations too and expect you to do all the work. Because I know when I look at some of the messages my guy friends send, these girls
Mm-hmm.
they ask them about their interests and they'll give them one line responses and really don't give them anything to
Mm,
work with. And I know if a lot of these people were in person, they would not be responding this way because it'd be mad disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I think that's the other problem. But since you just give these guys some tips, I'm gonna restate your tips. Brit just put y'all on game, so I'm gonna restate it. These are Brit's dating tips advice. You know what I'm saying?
They're not
Put
dating this
something.
advice.
It's dating tips advice right here. This is game. This is game. Y'all have been humbled, and now she's putting you on game. Put something interesting in that profile. Put your interest so someone can relate back to it. If you like anime, don't be ashamed. Play in you like anime. If you like tacos, talk about tacos. You like dogs, dog. Give them something to work with, bro. What else you say, Britt?
Yeah.
What about pictures? How should
Um,
they post them pictures?
I mean, if you want to post mostly selfies, that's fine. But I'm going to say, if you're going to post selfies, don't have them be in your car. All of them don't have all of them being in your car. Don't have them be like bathroom mirror selfies because the lighting most likely terrible. If you're going to take selfies, just take them outside. Make sure you smile. And you don't have to have like pictures of you doing, exotic things like climbing a mountain or, you know, um, anything like that. You can post the pictures that you also feel confident about, you know?
Yeah. And when you're taking
Um,
those pictures, stop looking at the goddamn camera. Look away from the camera. I got that tip from
like,
Tyra Banks.
oh shoot, I didn't know that. So, thank you for that. But just post pictures that also represent who you are. Like, if you're not a hiker and I see a picture of you behind, like on a mountaintop, I'm like, oh, when was the last time you hiked? And you say like, oh yeah, hiking's not really my thing. What is this picture then, bro? You know, if you post a picture of you at the beach, but you only went to the beach that one time to please your friends, and I'm just like, oh, do you want to go to the beach sometime? And you're like, oh yeah, I hate the ocean. I'll be like, what the fuck is this, bro? Like,
These are games. She's putting you on game.
you
This is
know?
great tips. So you're hearing it first from Britt. These are Britt's dating advice. She got
Oh my
posted somewhere.
gosh.
She gonna do a column with the New York Times. Y'all sleeping on her.
I'm dead. But no, but also like don't be dry in conversation, you know?
Hmm.
Like try to talk the way you would speak to somebody in person. Like you said, your friend wouldn't give that one line answer
Hmm.
if they were in person.
I mean, the
So,
girl he
you
was
know,
talking to was giving him one line answers, but
oh, okay, the girl. Well, either way, the girls and guys, don't be dry in your messages. Don't be like, oh, okay, thanks. You know, if somebody says, have a nice day, try to push them a little bit further with that, you know, by saying, oh, thanks. I hope you have a nice day too. Do you have anything planned? Bam, or do you
hmm.
have anything exciting planned? Just try. And at the end of the day, that's like a lot of issue with a lot of dating is that people don't really try anymore. At least I feel like people don't really try anymore when it comes to dating. In my experience, I mean, not my experience right now, because but because I'm having a great time right now, but
Mm,
like before, some of the other people I was seeing, they wouldn't try. They wouldn't
mm.
try at all.
I think that's
And
important. You get what you put in, right?
exactly. With anything, with family relationships, with friendships, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about this on our relationship episode, but you can't expect to get something if you don't try, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And then like if you're trying and someone's not giving you that same energy back, just drop it. It's not worth your time. But that doesn't mean that you don't
Exactly.
continue to try. Like, oh,
And
this person burnt me. I'm not gonna try anymore, right?
yeah, and that's another thing about dating is I feel like sometimes things are taken a little too personally or um people take it to another level of serious. Like if you were to stop talking to someone or if somebody ghosted you, yeah, it'll hurt. initially, but you can't let that bring down your whole day. You can't let that take away from you wanting to date and you wanting to meet other people in general, you know? At least that's my opinion. Especially if it's a person you've never met in real life. That's the thing that also gets me. Like, I've had people come to me, and tell me how they've been talking to a person for weeks on end and how they're like, oh yeah, we were really vibing. And then he or she might, become a little distant and basically ghost that person. And then that person telling me how, like, why didn't he message me back? Why didn't she message me back? Like, what did I do? It's like, you might not have even done anything, first of all. Second of all, they're lost. Third of all, you've never met this person in real life. There is no need to be causing yourself worry and stress over a person that was just an idea. Because that's literally what that person is. They're just an idea, someone you have imagined in your mind. Yes, you've seen pictures of them, but who's to say that that's, again, how they really look in real life? And you've probably imagined everything else under the sun when it comes to how they talk, how they move, anything. And so they just become an idea to you until you really meet them. So if you haven't met them, why stress over them? Like, I don't know.
No, I feel what you mean. I feel what you mean. People just need to understand that because someone ghosts you, it's not the end of the world. You just kind of have to keep it moving. It's gonna hurt, but you're gonna have to
Yeah.
keep it
And I
moving.
acknowledge that. Yeah, it'll hurt, and it sucks when you think you've met someone that
Mhm.
you have a real connection with
Mhm.
and, they ghost you or, whatever the case may be. It does suck, but you can't let that stop you from trying to meet the person that you want to meet. Because at the end of the day, if it's something you really want, you have to, try.
Yeah. And also, just lastly, some of y'all just need to work on yourselves because some of y'all are disgusting human beings.
What?
I
Can
mean,
you elaborate?
some of y'all, sometimes I'd be talking to people and people would be like, oh, this person is just like, these people are the worst. Well, I was saying like stereotyping people and et cetera, and forth, like men and women are being like, these boys are all just games and exactly that and the third. I'm like,
Oh, like all men are trash type of thing?
yeah, night. Well, historically men are trash, and I will admit that. But, but specifically
Damn.
speaking, when it comes, I mean, it's the truth. But it's speaking about like relationships and stuff. Like some of y'all are the issue. Y'all have personal trauma and things you haven't worked through, or communication issues you haven't worked through, and now you're
Mhm.
projecting it on this other person, and then they ghost you, and y'all like the Pikachu bee, like out the gate. Like, how could this happen? I was simply projecting my own insecurities on you. I don't understand why you would leave.
So, I guess this is going to be my last question to you. Since you said, some people need to work on themselves, do you believe that someone needs to, be able to love themselves and know themselves before they actually start dating? Is that something that you believe is true? Because I've talked to some people where they don't believe that that's true.
I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I think if you want to be
Mm-hmm.
successful, you should definitely love yourself because no one is going to complete you. No one's going to make you happy all the time. It's like you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to find someone to add up to multiply your happiness. You know what I'm saying? Because when you add
Mm-hmm.
another person into your life, if that person
Mm-hmm.
is the right person for you, they're going to multiply what's already there, right? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? and
Mm-hmm.
because and so if you have like if you're already in a place where you're happy with yourself and you have another
Mm-hmm.
person who's happy with themselves, you're gonna multiply
Mm-hmm.
that happiness. If you're in a relationship with both of y'all hate yourselves, that hate is just
Mm-hmm.
gonna be amplified. So you can
Yeah.
do it. But the problem is what you're gonna like you said, you get what you put in negativity, you go get negativity out, right?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I don't think a lot of people understand that. They go looking for this other person thinking they're going to solve all their problems instead of realizing that trauma and that stuff that you've been through, you have to work on yourself before another person can really come in. And sometimes what will happen is someone will be there who will help this person work through their trauma. But then what will end up happening is that, um, they've now put trauma into this other person because they had to work them through all their trauma, you know what I'm saying? And now
Mhm.
these two people are both traumatized, and they
Mhm.
are going to continue forward with that trauma, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally do. And you saying that made me remember this quote that Will Smith said, and I actually just pulled it up if you want me to read it out loud.
Please, please, the people need to know.
Okay. Will Smith said regarding his wife, her happiness is not my responsibility. She should be happy and I should be happy individually. Then we come together and share our happiness. Giving someone a responsibility to make you happy when you can't do it for yourself is selfish. And I initially read this maybe a couple years ago, and I was like, wow, that's so true. You can't expect a partner to again complete you or be your center of happiness,
Be
because if
your
that person,
answer.
and exactly, because if that person were to leave, or you felt that that relationship wasn't for you anymore, you might not have the courage to, you know, end it, or um, be by yourself if you've placed all of your literal eggs and all of your literal happiness in one person.
Yeah. And what a burden
So,
to put on another person to make them
yeah.
solely responsible for your happiness. That is
Mhm.
not something anybody should have to carry,
Mhm.
Because obviously you're not concerned about their happiness if you're forcing them to have to keep you happy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is a very
Yeah.
selfish thing. But
Mhm.
fellas, get your stacks up, take Brit's dating advice, she go get you right. You want to increase your Tinder matches by 5.
Oh my god.
Take all her advice. She gonna get you right. But
Just don't start asking for nudes, or ask, don't start asking, don't start, sending, dick pics off the bat. Like, nobody wants that.
oh my god.
Nobody wants that.
Have you been on the receiving end of those?
I have.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's a learning curve when it comes to online dating. When I first started it a few years ago, um, a female friend of mine, an old female friend of mine, told me like how she had started hers and how she had placed like her Snapchat on her profile. And I was like, oh, that's fun. So that way I don't have to like worry about talking to people on this app, because again, I wasn't on it as often.
Mhm.
And um, I would have people add me, and, then I'd see if like they were a person from whatever dating app I was using. I was like, oh yeah, they are. I'd add them, and then bam. And I'm just like, fuck. And so after my first one, I was just like, this is not for me. And then I deleted all of my dating apps, and I didn't go back on like dating apps for, I want to say like a year and a half or 2 years. Like, my dating has been very sporadic, um, in like the last 4 or 5 years, where I just take long breaks, mainly because I'm just like, I'm not about what has been presented to me,
Mhm.
you
Work on
know?
yourself, queen.
So, I had to decide what I wanted out of a relationship and out of a partner, and what I look for in someone, and what I can bring to someone as well,
hmm
not about what somebody can give me, but what can I give them.
hmm
So, yeah.
And I think that is an excellent place to end today's podcast. Um,
Okay.
so we gotta still plug everything. Oh, and before I forget, we actually have some guest mail from Omoji, so we're gonna go over it with our future guest, Ama. And here it is.
Hi guys, new listener here. I just started listening. I listened to the fitness journey episode, and that was really good. I liked everything except one part. Brittany, I don't know. I stay up late at night and I think about the fact that somewhere out there somebody is eating her chicken dry with rice, and it's you, and I worry. I worry deeply about you. Please put some teriyaki on that thing. Put some sriracha on that. Like, just, I don't know. But please, because you said your chicken was moist in the middle, but dry. I don't know. I feel for you, please. All right, thank you.
Okay, everyone listening right now.
Wait. Before you start,
No.
I have to say something.
Oh my
that was
God.
from Omoji Omogene, and the title of the message was 1-800-SAVE Britney.
Wow. Okay, I just want to go off right now. I don't understand why everything has to have sauce on it. You know, that's masking a flavor of a food. Last time I checked, we use that's what Essay puts on his food, like a teriyaki sauce, a barbecue sauce, what type of condiment, whatever type of condiment people want. And I don't understand.
I thought she meant like flavor. Like
no, because
seasoning.
I season my food, and I explained this in the fitness podcast. I season my food with a nice dry rub. So I don't understand why a sauce or a condiment is needed to mask the flavor of the actual food. If you had salmon, would you mask that with a teriyaki sauce? You can if you want to, but if you like the flavor of just lemon salmon, use lemon on your salmon. Or just regular salmon. It's still delicious.
But it's not even about the salmon, though. It's about the fact that you're eating the rice without anything on it. Like,
why do you need to put something on rice? And no, she said chicken specifically. She didn't say rice.
She's talking about the rice.
Wait, so when you cook your rice, if you're gonna eat it like just plain rice, do you add anything to it? Because for me, when I do it, I'll like cook it with butter and some scallions. Is that what they're called?
The green onions?
Yeah, the green onions.
Yeah, that's the scallion.
Infuse it so that it has like, it's not just plain rice.
I mean, it's brown rice, and brown rice has flavor. Essay can agree.
I agree with this, but
Essay can agree that brown rice has a flavor to it.
That being said, since Ava's African, she knows that like we, at least if we even have rice, though, we put like soup or stew on top, you know?
Yeah.
We don't just eat the rice plain.
But do you not agree that brown rice
it has
flavor?
flavor.
No, so it does have a flavor. So last time I checked, am I gonna mask the natural flavor of the food with a sauce? I mean, all I'm gonna taste is the sauce. If I put barbecue sauce on rice, all I'm gonna taste is barbecue sauce. Why do I want a mouthful of barbecue sauce?
Did you say that your chicken was dry?
They're saying that she's eating her food dry because there's rice and
there's no sauce on it.
There's just rice and chicken.
There's no like hot sauce or teriyaki sauce or sriracha. Because she mentioned sriracha, anything like that. But like, you're literally masking your food with all that other stuff, and not everybody likes masking their food with the taste of a sauce.
I mean, yeah, there's people who boil their chicken, but that doesn't make it right.
I mean, but
that doesn't make it wrong either.
Rice.
Just like, I'm not a person who would boil my chicken, but I would never judge somebody if they just wanted to have boiled plain chicken with no salt, no pepper, nothing. If all they wanted was some boiled chicken, that's their prerogative.
All I'm gonna say is this, right? All I'm gonna say is this. When you started to fender yourself, the listeners can't see this, but Alma made a face. Alma made a face. So I just want you to know
that's fine. That's y'all's opinion. But you know what? I'm sure there are people out there who'd be like, you know what? I'm sure the way that Brittany chooses to eat her food is fine.
I guess because when I make salmon, like when I fry salmon, I'll make a little glaze, like a honey garlic glaze to put over the salmon and have some like rice with butter and some scallions in it infused.
So do you put sauce over your chicken? When you make chicken, do you put sauce over it or a condiment over it? Or do you just do a dry rub?
It's got flavor, so I don't really...
Yeah, exactly.
Have rice with stew with the chicken.
I mean, if you were just to have chicken, though, if you just wanted a piece of chicken as a snack, would you, and if it's already seasoned, you already made a seasoning mix.
You're missing the carbohydrate component that is going into this. That's our concern.
Because she literally only mentioned
the rice.
Chicken.
She's concerned about the rice.
No, she didn't mention the rice. She mentioned chicken. Did she say rice in that comment, or did she say chicken?
She said rice. You want us to play it back?
She mentioned rice somewhere.
I didn't hear the rice part.
Should we play it back? Should we play it back?
Do we have time?
We have time.
Okay, sure. You can play it back. Because I didn't hear that part.
Hi guys, new listener here. I just started listening. I listened to the Fitness Journey episode, and that was really good. I liked everything except one part. Brittany, I don't know. I stay up late at night and I think about the fact that somewhere out there somebody is eating her chicken dry with rice, and it's you, and I worry. I worry deeply about you. Please put some teriyaki on that thing. Put some sriracha on that. Like, just, I don't know, but please, because you said your chicken was moist in the middle, but dry. I don't know. I feel for you, please. All right. Thank you.
The flavor, the juiciness of the chicken makes up for the lack of sauce. And
on
so
the rice.
I think, yes, and I think that's what she's talking about. And she's saying that worries her about you.
But if you have a little bit of chicken on your fork and a little bit of rice, all of the flavors mixed together, do they not?
For a dry-ass product.
It's not dry, though. If the chicken is not dry, if the chicken is juicy, as the word of choice, how is that dry food?
That's such a...
Explain that to me. So do you like the feeling of wetness in your mouth? Is that what you want?
Isn't your mouth always wet?
Is that what you want?
Is your mouth dry? Wait, is your mouth dry?
It's not, but it's also not overly wet with the feeling of sauce.
We love our listeners. Please send in more voice messages. Especially if you're concerned for Brittany and her eating of dry food. Please let us know.
It's not dry food. Don't people put me out there all blast like that. It's not dry food.
She has flavor in her food. I mean, you have to kind of.
Thank you, Alma. I have flavor in my food. I just don't like overly sauced rice. Who would want that? But if you want that, okay. But like, that's like the equivalent of eating scoops of barbecue sauce or ketchup with little granules of rice in there. That's how I imagine that.
What do you consider sauce? Because when I think of sauce, I'm thinking of like stew or like soup on the side.
So when we had this conversation, and I asked Essie the same thing. What does he consider sauce? He only mentioned condiments.
Stew is a condiment.
No,
it's stew is a condiment to me.
What? Last time I checked, there is no stew in the condiment aisle of a Giant, a Safeway, or any grocery store.
When I think of a stew, you got
that's because why America is
racist. All blended together with some.
A stew is a stew. It's a form of soup. That's not a condiment.
Okay, no, it's not. It's not a form of soup. I'm gonna stop you there. Those two things are different. Now you're impeding on.
It's like a sister of a soup. Be
careful. You're about to like if there are any Africans out there, they listen to you. You walking on very dangerous territory. I would look. You said your piece about your dry food. Don't go into this. Don't go into this.
No, but let me ask you. A stew has vegetables, right? A stew has vegetables like tomatoes, potatoes, some type of onion, a meat.
Oh. Okay. So I feel like African stews and soup are different from like
they are.
American.
2% of our listeners are from Nigeria. Be very careful what you say.
No, because this is what I know as what a stew is. Because this is how stews were made in my house, and it's got like a broth to it. So, what is your stews like? What's a stew for you? I'm genuinely curious.
For I don't know, from as a Ghanaian, it's tomatoes, onions, some hot peppers, and whatever else you want to put in it, blend it together, and it's cooked. With some protein in it or not?
Does it have a broth? Do you use a broth as a base?
No.
So there's no liquid in there at all.
Sometimes if my mom is making the chicken and she, seasons and then boils it, she might use like the flavor at the bottom and put it into the stew to enhance.
So there's no liquid. It's all just
the tomato is the liquid.
Yeah.
So do you ground the tomato? Is it tomato paste?
You blend it.
You blend
it. It's blended tomatoes, onions, and whatever other.
And like you blend it in a blender?
Yes.
To make it liquefied?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you cook it.
So that's like your base then?
Mm-hmm.
And then do you put any other like solid vegetables in there, or do you only put a protein as a solid in there?
I mean, it depends. Some
that's
people
family
might,
to
like, chop
family.
up some
Because, like,
carrots,
that's
put
not
it
what a
in
stew
there.
is considered here in America. I'm just stating that's
The first point I was making.
but that's true though. Tell me,
Thank
is
you.
that not true though?
Wait. Let's stop this. This is going.
But
We're
no,
going over.
I'm saying that's just not how stew was presented to me as a
Because
child.
You're
like,
right.
I know, like, y'all say chili stew, but to me that looks doesn't really look like a stew.
But that's the case for like a lot of foods and a lot of cultures. Just because it's one way that you know it doesn't mean it can't be another way in another culture.
Okay, that's
And
fair.
I don't think
but-
anybody should judge anybody based off of what they've grown up or what they've been presented in their culture, just because that's all they knew from when they grew up. You can't be faulted for that.
Which is
just-
fair, but
But
Which
like
is
I
fair,
wouldn't
but this is
say
going
that
a whole different.
I'm
This is
just
going a
saying.
whole different direction
just
from
saying.
you being no, but you're trying to make the turn this for the direction from the original sin, which is the chicken being used as
No.
juice for the rice.
No, I
like-
am not
Okay, so
changing
has she had
anything.
some sort of glaze on the chicken. Would that have been okay? Is that what she's implying? Because I don't really like condiments like that. Like, I ain't putting.
I mean, I feel like,
teriyaki.
we're having this conversation. If they hear this conversation, they can get back to us and let us know. Omoji, please, we need more words of your wisdom.
I just want some clarification because not everybody likes condiments
I mean, it's like
that.
if I was just eating chicken, I would cook it with make some teriyaki chicken. With some
Yeah,
fries
so
on the
I
side
guess
and that.
Omoji, is it the
Is it
rice?
chicken
Is
without
it
the
the
stew
chicken?
and the rice?
If it was just the chicken by itself, would this all be cool? We need clarification. We just need a little bit of clarification. But Alma, thank you for doing the voice messages
Thank you.
with her. She will be
Yeah.
with us later on
Thank
in
you.
the interview down the line. We do one with her. Thanks for doing voice messages with us, Alma.
You want me to do the outro? I can do the outro if you'd like.
You would have to start.
Okay. Thank you for listening to Humble Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Podcast Humble, where you can share your thoughts, reactions, and experiences on this topic. Please, we'd love to hear from you. You can also email us at humblepodcast@protonmail.com. Our song is by Azana Asefa. His SoundCloud will be linked below. And our art is by Joel, and his Twitter will also be linked. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
On the flippity flop. Out of control. Out of control.
I had to say it. It was my first outro.